Ever look at your home?
Friends would walk up to me and be like, "What the?"
Hey, it's time to start. Welcome to Animation Critique Time. I'm here to critique animation. So if you've got something you want me to look at, there's a link in the description. You can click that and upload it, and we'll take a look. All right. Until then, no problem. Play blast it out. You got 58 minutes to get it done. All right. Until then, I'm going to be working on something else. So let me know when it's ready to go. All right. All right, Bryce. Let's take a look here. Looks pretty good. So what I would do, you just want to go through it frame by frame. Make sure you're pointing back. So if I were to go through this, frame by frame, I'd try to scoot the whole thing over right there in this little, getting off just a little bit, and then we're getting back on. Make sure that that tail doesn't start to rotate that direction. I think your timing overall could probably be smoothed out right in this little area. Scooch it over just a bit. Make sure the tail doesn't start to point back that direction. Watch that one right there. Don't curl too early. Curve it to that path a little bit more again. Make sure we're not curving back that way. So just a couple little wobbles in here, pushing back in that direction. Right there, round that arc out. Rotate the ball a little bit more. Curve that tail along it. Don't whip it back. This is rotate that ball a little bit more so that connection point is down there. Watch that a little bit. So I think you're now in the area. I mean, you're like 95% done. And what I would do is go in and spend 20 minutes, 30 minutes, frame by frame, going through and making sure the ball is right there, the ball is correctly rotated, and then adjust the tail as needed. Because you're really close. You just want to be right on that thing. Okay? So we just want to scoot that up just slightly. So if you've kind of controlled it for the most part with, correct, nobody has to see it, and you want to get as far along with, you know, using an economy, being economic with your keys, just not like setting a gazillion of them, until you get right to the end, and then you're going to finesse it as much as you can, and then you start adding in those keys when you're like right there, okay? So you're right there. You're right at the end, and now it doesn't matter how many keys you set, you're gonna force it into the position that you want it to be in. But I don't think it should take any more than 30 minutes, really, to go frame by frame through this whole thing, because I mean almost all of them are right. You probably have like 20 or 25 that you could adjust, like really minutely getting in there. So it's not much. You're right there. So good job on that. See? Easy. This one's easy. We're going to take this principle of the tail kind of following the path, and it's going to get a little bit harder next week. But this part's easy, right? Just point it. Just point it from where it came from. That's all you got to remember. Good job. All right. If there's anything else, let me know. You can put it in the folder in the description below. There's a link to it if there's anybody even on here. Otherwise, feel free to ask any questions you want. I'm going to keep you have to there's different ways that you can approach it, right? You can approach it by working with one segment at a time, like the segment closest to the ball, and really work that through the whole thing. And you could go in and clean those curves and everything, and then you add the next one, and then the next one, and the next one. Or you can treat it as key poses, form the whole tail at a specific point, like those extremes, and then work your way backwards, fill in the in-betweens. Neither is right or wrong. It's just a different approach. So eventually, again, you'll figure out, like you might have done it one of those ways, and you might find like, man, that seems like it took a lot of work. Well, the next time maybe you try it a different way, and maybe that'll work for you. But all of these assignments are, again, building kind of that foundation, but also figuring out how you like to work. And again, the way that I show something or demonstrate something, usually, again, it works for me. At least with these first assignments, I do think they're probably the easiest or maybe most efficient, but you might find a way that doesn't, that quite doesn't make sense for you. and you think, man, it would be easier if I did it this way, then go do it that way. Nothing wrong with that. So that class is basically what I'm doing right here. You don't need to have crazy animation skills. It's going to be a kind of a Toon Boom, or you're going to be using Toon Boom Harmony. You're going to be building some characters kind of like this. So, I mean, this animation is pretty basic. You know, it's a new class. I'm not teaching that one, so I'm not sure like how much, you know, like workload wise it would be. But it's not going into like full on 2D drawing. It's going to be more puppet based. So the way this works is, you know, we're drawing. Let's see if I can. All right, hold on. You know, you draw pieces. It's like a kind of a puppet based. You're using pegs and things like that. There's a little bit more complexity to that, but overall, I think this program is really simple to use. In fact, Todd Fechter, who will be teaching the class, you know, he rigged this rig, and he didn't know anything about Harmony rigging 2 weeks ago. And now I'm animating it. In fact, he's animating another one, so he's figuring out as he goes. So I think, you know, I think you'll do all right. Would you do better if you had more animation experience? You know, if you took computer animation 2 and then took it? Yeah, probably. But it's not necessary. I think it's whatever you want to do. But we're going to hopefully be having that class every year. So there'll be other opportunities. If you don't want to do it now, you want to do it later. Up to you. But when it comes to like animation-wise, it's not going to be like... Computer animation 2 will be harder animation-wise than this class will be. Now you can do stuff in this class traditionally, and maybe you can do like a blend. And a lot of times when you're doing this puppet animation, so this kind of puppet style animation is very it's kind of what a lot of the TV shows are doing now. They use Harmony, but it's a blend. It's a blend of puppet, and then sometimes they're drawing those. So if you need a shape that you can't quite get, then they might just draw that full-on shape just to get what they need there. Whew, I'm gonna have to clean that up. That's a mess. Alright, this is not the way that I would normally animate really anything. This is just getting there and making it work. So, like, what I'm about to do. So there's certain spots where I wanted this, like, I'm just trying to get this foot. And I don't have to get it super accurate, but like right now you can see it's like jittering all over the place. Because it's attached to his waist and it's being influenced by his waist. So I'm going to take a sticky note and I'm going to put it where I want it. That's what I did with the other foot and it worked all right. Usually you'd have like an IK. So like right here is where I want it to be. So I'm figuring out a marker. So I'm putting that right on the corner of it on my screen. This is old school stuff. And then I'm just going to match it. So I'm just looking at that corner of the lower leg and where like the top of the foot meet, and I'm just trying to keep the corner of that in the same spot with a sticky note. Sophisticated methods. All right, sticky note's gone. Now let's look at it. Oh, don't want to do that. Voila, there you go. Silly way maybe to do it, but whatever works. And it only took, what, like 3 or 4 minutes. That's with no IK foot, really. It's sort of an IK foot, but it's still attached to that hip. So, kind of counter animating, because the hip is driving, the waist is driving that foot, and so as the waist kind of impacts the ground and then comes back up and relaxes, or we get that overlap, the foot wanted to move with it, so I just needed to attach it. Make it stick to the ground, so I'm counter animating everything that's the hip is doing, trying to get that foot to stay still, which is a pain in the butt, but sometimes you got to do it. All right, so then now we can kind of watch this. It's all right. I don't like that hand. There's a lot of finessing. I gotta deal with the fingers a little bit. The screen right hand, his left. It's funky. I don't like that. I don't like that rotation at the very end. Something's weird about it. It's all right. It's getting there. I'll get it done today. He's gonna do a little sniffing, maybe a little eye shifting, heavy breathing. Then he's off the screen. Send it, render it out. Send it to Todd. Todd's gonna comp it together, make it look pretty. Now that I've kind of finished that, if anybody's got any animation to look at, would it be possible to give him a snarl? So yeah, so here, let me show you what I'm going to be playing with. See if I can find it. Where are we? So here's what I have available to me. So again, it's like a puppet. It's like little pieces of things that are kind of stuck together. So like I can grab his jaw and I can do this. Right? So I could do a rotation, a little bit of rotation. Can't go too far, right? Because then it kind of falls apart. Can't go too far up, obviously, because we go in there. But then I can also, get a little bit of translation. So we'll be doing a little bit of that. And then when you get into his nose, so I can do all the same things, right? I can translate, I can rotate, but then because the peg is in, it's basically that peg acts as a pivot. I can actually scale as well. So I can scale it, and because it's pivoting from that peg, I can pull that up. I can pull this out. So I can give him a little bit of breathing if I want to do that. And then I can also get in the way it's set up right now, I believe. Hold on. I don't know. I'll have to check on this. We can give him a... can basically like increase his nostrils, so give him make it look like he's breathing. So it'd be awesome if you could do like a full-on howl, but we haven't. You'd have to build multiple shapes for the mouth right now, and we don't really have that. So, and then I can also move his eyes a little bit. Could do that. We can scale him too. So like if I want him to move quickly, like dart over, what I might do is I would set this one position, I would set the other position, and as it moves across, if I only wanted to do like 1 or 2 frames, I would squash that down as it goes through. That's what I'm going to probably try and experiment with. So I believe Todd's going to add on some, maybe some sound effects. We'll see. And then kind of dirty it up a little bit. So it looks old, since this is old school monsters here. And again, hopefully it's all done and put together today. It's my main project for the day. So I think that's set. Let's give them a... So right now we're at 120. Probably need to bump that out if I can. Oh. So we're gonna have them jump. Turn some of this down. Have them jump off screen. So we can go ahead and do that actually, and then I can just shift it all down to figure out the sniffing and all that stuff. So I'll have to come back and counter animate those feet. Because I need his waist to drop. And when I counter animate those feet, it'll also bend his knees, so it'll look like he's actually squatting and not just floating down. This is gonna be, it's gonna look really stupid, but. Oh man, that's terrible. That's all right. We'll clean it up, make it look all right. If anybody has any animation that they want me to look at, let me know. There's a link below in the description that you can submit anything you want to. And I will take a look. But until that happens, I'm going to keep doing this. All right. It should be the hand there. Did you miss it? What did you miss? What did you miss, Todd? I don't think you missed anything. we only had one. Only Bryce. Yeah, it was short. It was short. Now we're just working. And Bryce is watching me work. Sure, Stone. I'll look at whatever. All right. Let's download this. All right, Stone. It's getting stuck on the end. All right, let's take a look. We'll scrub through. Looks pretty good. I mean, it's not like you can go back and change it now, right? I mean, it is what it is. I would wonder what would happen if you put in a few more frames of that rolling to get it just a tiny bit smoother. So is this him flipping over? Is he rolling over? Maybe not. Just looking at like what I think is his eye, and then it ends up over here. But this could be like, the feet kind of stayed the same. I think the only thing in this part that I would look at is, like, I think this, is on the ground. You want to make sure that those hands stay on the ground rather than coming up, so it really feels like he's going to push, and then round out that arc on your main body. So it's coming up and gets to here, and then it pivots. See how it rotates in the same spot? You just want that to be creating that arc, whether it's still going up or it's coming back down. I'd round out that arc, and then you need a yeah. So it all kind of pivots all in the same spot. So you just want to get that arc working, and then a cushion, so he actually lands. Get that squash in there. So then this is pretty cool. Like, did you just cut out a ton of paper? And were you like using the previous shape, like lay it on a piece of paper and then you would add on more? Or did you make the full thing and then trim pieces off of it and work your way backwards? Tons of paper. This part is is pretty cool. Yeah, it didn't want to give me those last frames. If there are last frames. Keeps getting stuck on that part. I think it was pretty cool. I'm not a stop motion animator, so it's I mean that's hard. Because you have to have everything planned out and your timing planned out, and it's a different way of thinking about animation. You've got to really, really, really have it planned. But yeah, I think it's cool. Okay. Nice. Looks good, Stone. Todd, do you have anything for us today? Do you have a Dracula animation? You have stitches. Hey, if you want me to look at it, Bryce, let me know. Toss it in there if you want. Cool. Let me play. Give me 1 sec. Yeah, I thought it was playing slow. I think it's cool. One thing that I don't know if I'm going to be able to... Yeah, it's not going to let me, like... Oh, maybe it will. No, it doesn't want to let me... It put it in as, like, individual drawings. What I would look at... So you've got this starting position. And it goes straight up, right, from that starting position. Oops. What are we on here? Hold on. So it starts low and it goes straight up. What you might think about is putting in a little anticipation, like as it comes over, you push down just slightly and then you pop up into there. And the only other thing that I would say is, like, what's the emotion when he goes back into Yeah, it's definitely. How's he supposed to feel afterwards? And then make sure that that's clear. And then the other thing that I would look at is that brow at the very end, just because you get, it's flat, it goes up, but then everything squashes and that brow comes down, but then it goes back into that original, well, not original, into that same curved shape. So that's the only thing that I would say. Like, you get back down into here, and we have that. So what I would try to say, right now everything is kind of mushed up except for that one thing, and it kind of is the same shape as what it was up there. So is he annoyed? I don't know. So that's the only thing that I would try to look at, and then see what you can do about that brow to vary the shape up from the one that's at the top. Otherwise, I think it's cool. A little anticipation at the beginning. Boom, hits his pose, then comes down. Maybe a little overlap there at the end, but it's a fun little test. Those things will knock those things out. You'll learn a lot as you do it. You'll get better with each one too. Again, little fast things like that are great. And with that, it is 11 o'clock. All right. Thanks for stopping by. Bryce, thanks for showing stuff. Stone. Todd, I'll probably talk to you later. See you all next week. Stone, I'll see you later today.